Good evening, and welcome to the Ranking the Retros Roundtable, Episode 8, where in this series we are looking at NES games, talking about them, playing them, sometimes cringing at them, and sometimes being delighted by them. It's sometimes a pleasant experience, sometimes it's like getting a root canal. In this episode, we will be doing baseball, Hogan's Alley, soccer, and pro wrestling. Should be an interesting episode. Nice little, I guess you can call it mostly a sports episode. I don't know if I'd call Hogan always a sport, but we'll get to that. With us today, we have two good pals. We have Sammy and Jerry. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Just dandy.
Never better, Wayne. Thanks for asking.
All right. I'm glad you guys are here because otherwise it would just be me, and it would be boring as hell.
I think a solo episode would be good.
That would be terrible.
You should try that sometime.
Oh, it'd be terrible. I don't have the voice for that. I don't even know why I'm the host. It's just because it's my channel. But that's besides the point. As we do, we start off every episode with 5 trivia questions based on themes of the games that we've played. Are you guys ready for the trivia?
Yeah, I still want this thing to have a name soon.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. As I said before we started, I'm dumb. I can't think of anything. If anybody has a good idea for it, let us know. But yeah, so just to sum it up, Jerry, you have 6 points. Sammy, you have 5. And Dan still has 7. This may be the week where one of you guys takes over the lead. So, number 1. Jerry, this one might be geared more towards you.
You know, you should just not say that. Ever.
What?
But there's pressure here when you say that.
Good. You still might not know, though.
Okay, good.
In what year was the WWF established as the Capital Wrestling Corporation?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I know the origins of Capital Wrestling, but I don't know what year.
I mean, if you know the origins of it, you should know the year, because that's when it originated.
I haven't. That's not what I meant. I'm familiar with the backstory to a degree, but as for the year, I'm going to say 1975.
Okay. Sammy, what were you thinking?
I'll say 1981.
81. All right. The actual year the WWF was established, at the time it was named the Capital Wrestling Corporation, which sounds kind of dumb to me, but hey, I guess at least they have a name for their segment. 1953. So, Jerry, you were closest for that.
Wow. It was way off.
It wasn't that far off. I mean, 22 years, you know. You're still within the decade, so there's that. Number 2. What country won the very first FIFA World Cup in 1930?
I'm going to say Brazil.
It's a solid answer. Sammy, what do you think?
I'll say Spain.
Spain? All right. Believe it or not, it's neither of them. It was actually Uruguay, which I would never have guessed that that'd be a country that won the very first. Like, I would have guessed Brazil or like Argentina. That's what my research has told me. So, fortunately, no one got the point for that one. Number 3. How many home runs did Barry Bonds hit over his career? He's the current record holder. I can't speak today. He is the current record holder for the most career home runs over 22 years. How many did he hit?
It's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Over 22 years?
Over 22 years.
342.
Okay.
This is such a it's such a guess.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like most of these trivia questions are just complete guesses.
I'm going to say 300.
Makes it fun.
I'm going to say 300.
300? You guys are both pretty far off. If you would have doubled Sammy's number, you still wouldn't be there.
Wow, okay. I mean, he was a good ball player, but I didn't know. Okay.
762.
Wow.
My gosh. I
So
knew it was
Sammy
a
gets the
lot.
point for that.
340 sounded like a lot.
I was trying to take into
That's
account
crazy.
the 22-year career, but I was like, oh, man, even if you, like, I'm like, oh, you average, like, 50 home runs a year. I'm like, that would still be, that felt way high, but I guess really wasn't that bad of, I should have, dang it. Oh,
And
well.
I'll have to ask Dan these questions again to see if he gets them right. I did ask him a couple of them from last episode, and he just bombed it. So he would not have won. So so maybe his luck has run out. But number 4, and I like this question. This is a funny one in a weird kind of way. In what state did a man attempt to rob a convenience store with an NES Zapper painted black in 2023?
God, it had to be Florida, right? It had to be in Florida.
You're saying Florida? All right.
Well, you said city, didn't you? So,
No, state. What state?
oh, you did say state?
Yes.
That's fine. I'll say Florida.
Okay. And by the way, trivia on the trivia question. Obviously, he did not get away with it. Apparently, he was wearing a wig and everything.
I'm gonna say Pennsylvania.
A wig.
You think it was? Wow. All right. Sammy, you were kind of closer. I'm not going to give you the point, but you were closer. It was South Carolina. So
South Kakalaki.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Apparently, he was picked up like a couple hours later. Like, it did not take long.
Nice.
Number 5, and the final question for tonight. Ricky Henderson had the record for the most stolen bases. How many bases did he steal?
Man. He was quite the base runner.
Yes, he was.
Well, you know, I'm all about that base.
Oh,
He went there.
oh, why? Why? And yeah, he had a lengthy career too. And he was pretty fast. I'm going to say 200 stolen bases.
200? Okay.
I'll say 199.
Okay. Again, both way off, but Jerry, you
mean he
are
had
closer.
more?
Oh yeah. 1,406 stolen
Oh my
bases.
gosh.
Jeez.
That's bonkers.
Oh, man.
So, yeah.
I feel like when in doubt with these questions, you just need to go high. Even though it might sound astronomical, just err on the side of caution and go higher. Go
Right.
way higher than you could ever think.
With that said, Jerry, you are now in the lead with 8 points. And then Dan at 7, and Sammy at 6. So it's still a close race. Because, the points mean something.
Yeah, this isn't whose line is it anyway.
Right. But moving on.
Spling
We are going
blong.
to Spling blong.
Sorry.
Spling blong. Best scene ever.
Don't do it again. Sorry.
Ruh-roh. Anyway, getting on to the main feature of the game, main feature of the podcast, the games. Again, English is failing me today, so it's a good thing I'm not an English major. Otherwise, it'd be embarrassing. But let's move on to baseball, a game that was released in October of 1985. It's just called baseball, so no frills or anything like that. It's a game where you play a game of baseball. Who wants to start?
That's all you're doing?
I gotta let other people talk. When I'm doing the editing on these podcasts, I feel like I talk too much. So I want to give someone else a chance.
Wait.
You guys have
You don't
sexier
edit
voices
this
than I do.
podcast? I do. What are you talking about? I know you
I
talk
do the
too
video
much.
to it, so I still have to do the editing.
Well, you talk a lot.
That's why I'm saying.
Since editing this podcast, sometimes I think I hear your voice in my head and we're not talking to each other. Your voice is like burned into my brain because of this
I know
podcast.
it's nails on the chalkboard grading. I know.
It's
I'm
hard.
aware.
It's hard.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to say one positive thing about this.
Oh, you only have one positive thing to say about this?
Okay, well, I was going to start with the biggest positive, and that is that the out sound effect was totally also then used in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Was it?
Yeah, when you would knock down a fighter.
No, I really don't remember this.
That sound effect sounds very, very similar. Like, I heard it immediately and I went, that sounds like when you knock down a fighter in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
I'm totally looking it up now because I don't recall that. Oh my God, it is. I never even realized that. I just watched some of the video for it. Okay, well. So the one positive that you wanted to say right from the start is that it had a Punch-Out sound effect.
And I really appreciate I did it because it's thrown you off now. You're off your rhythm.
I don't even know where to go from here. Sammy, what did you think of the game? Tell me your thoughts on baseball. Because Jerry apparently only had one positive thing to say, and that was it. So,
Well, I'm not convinced that I had any control over what was happening in the game,
Thank you.
other than when to pitch and when to swing.
Ooh,
I did
so-
notice that
can we
myself.
try this thing too? Now maybe we can volley. So when you were talking about swing, I will give another positive. How about that? Should we try that?
Oh, I like it. I like this.
Okay. Not to cut you off, sir. If you have more to say, please.
No. I'm anxious to hear your opinions.
No, so like that is one thing I didn't realize this at first, and then when I figured out what was going on, that's another, joking aside about the sound effect, one positive I really did find with the game was the way you swung. The game forces you to hold the button to complete a full swing. Otherwise, it's like a hack or a bunt even. I thought that was a nice touch considering the age of this game. The fact that that's in there, I really appreciated that.
That's fair. I did feel like there was some pretty solid batting mechanics, and even the pitching mechanics weren't terrible. It's not like I was expecting you had one pitch and that's it. But there are actually, I guess, technically 3, sort of 4 pitches where you have 2 different types of curveballs, one that goes in and one that goes out.
How do you make curveballs?
You hold left or right when you're pitching.
One's a screwball, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Is it? I don't know.
What did you call me?
You want to go?
I swear I tried doing that, and it must have been my finger coordination, which is notoriously terrible.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll have to play it again. It's not that I don't believe you. I'm frustrated I couldn't make it work.
I will say that curveballs, there's really no point in throwing them because the AI almost never swings on them. Like, I've tried a couple times to throw a curveball or a screwball, whatever, a ball that went outside the plate, and every single time the AI would just let it go and I'd get the ball. So after a while, I just stopped throwing them. And I typically would alternate between changeups and fastballs, and that seemed to work pretty well. And it just kind of annoyed me that I couldn't like throw a curveball here and there and, bait the batter because they'd never fall for it. So I'm like, what is the point other than maybe if I'm playing with a friend or something?
And the computer drove me nuts. Like, absolutely drove me nuts. I got myself in a situation twice where the computer kept trying to pick off my runner on first. Literally did this 2 different times. Tried to pick off the runner 4 times in a row. So did not throw a single pitch in 4 instances. Then throws a fastball. I'm not prepared because I'm sitting there and I'm getting ready for a pitch, and it goes to pick off the runner. Then it goes to pick off the runner again. I'm ready for a pitch. Okay, does it 2 times in a row. It's not going to do it again. Nope, did it again. Now I'm all off. I'm all off, right? So I think, okay, 3rd time, it's got to throw a pitch. Nope. Tries to pick off the runner for a 4th time. It happened 6 times in the span of, like, in between strikes with the same batter. The CPU tried to pick off a runner 6 times. I was so frustrated. I almost turned the game off.
It almost sounds like the AI knew what it was doing against you. You weren't giving the AI enough credit. They knew what it was doing. They knew you were going to fall for it.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Did you get a home run? Did you get a home run? Yes or no? Did it go over the fence?
Yes. But then I realized for some reason I was playing the Japanese ROM at first.
Okay.
So, because I'm like, I looked down at the screen. I'm like, why is the strikes and balls or the inning in Japanese? Here, for some reason, I had the Japanese ROM that I was using. So I got the right one, and then I couldn't hit another home run. So I don't know if it's just because of the team I was using, because there are 6 teams you can choose from. I don't know if there's actually any differences between the 6, other than the color. I really have no idea. I would imagine that there might be something small, like maybe one has better batters, one has better pitchers. I don't know.
Well, you know the letters are set for actual MLB teams, right?
Sure, I knew that.
So the A team is the Oakland Athletics, the C team is the Chicago Cubs, the D team is the Los Angeles Dodgers, the P team is the Phillies, R team is the Kansas City Royals, and the Y team is the New York Yankees.
Interesting. So I wonder why those teams were selected.
Were
those just the good teams at that
right,
year or something?
They were selected what I read is that they were selected because they were basically representing all the pennant winners in within the leading up and into the 80s.
Oh.
If what I read is correct.
Well, interesting. But Sammy, back to your point, because you said that you had some trouble controlling your fielders and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into that too. As I said, I had no problem with the batters and the pitchers, but once the ball was actually hit, all hell broke loose. I feel like my guys were doing a slip and slide through molasses. That's how slow they were running.
Yeah, I second that. And as I said, I'm all thumbs sometimes when it comes to these kinds of things, but I just could not get any consistent positive feedback that what I was doing with the controller was impacting what the players on screen were doing at all.
I hear you on that. I mean, I didn't try to steal or anything like that, but even sometimes base running, I would forget how to get my base runners to actually move. Maybe it's because I'm used to playing other baseball games in the system, like Roger Clemens baseball or Bad News baseball. When it came to this one, I don't know why. I just really struggled on getting my base runners to really move. But there's also a couple hits that I've had where the AI was equally as slow at fielding the ball. So I was like a hit that I would think might have been maybe a single, I was able to turn into a triple just because the fielding is so slow, which it doesn't seem like it should be because your characters are kind of, I guess you can say, chunky on a small field. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it was not to scale.
Right. That's a perfect way to put it. Like me personally, I would consider this game shallow because there's really not much to it. There's no extra modes or anything like that. Literally, you have a couple teams that you can choose from, and then you play a game of baseball, and that's it. I feel like it would be a more solid black box title, an early game, if the fielding was smoother. I don't know what you guys think on that.
No, I agree. The fielding was awful.
The only other note I wrote down are there are a couple questionable calls. I don't know if any of you guys ran into this where you would hit a ball, your runner would clearly be on base and the umpire would still claim it as out.
Oh yeah, I agree. I would have been yelling at the ump quite a bit if I were there in person.
I think even one of my balls that I hit, it was straddling the line. It was. To me, it looked like it was in, but then the umpire's like, nope, that's foul ball. It's like, come on, that's not foul. What are you looking at? That's when you have the head coach come onto the field and start screaming at the umpire, and then someone gets thrown out, and
Yeah, well, every time I got pissed, I just got up and went to get another beer.
It's about the only thing
I
that
kinda
can
wish
make
I
this
had
game
someone.
tolerable.
Yeah. I kind of wish there was a guy like yelling popcorn, beer, like behind me. I would have took a couple popcorns while I was playing this. Like, it's not a terrible game. It's just there's not much to it. Like, mechanically, it's fairly sound. It's just the fielding kills it.
Yeah. It's an easy one to simply just pick up and play. I mean, for what it's supposed to be and what it is, it's not awful, but it's not great.
So I think we've hit everything. I think you guys might seem to agree that it's time to rate this thing.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm going to set a baseline here. Is it better than volleyball?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Well, you didn't ask Sammy. What does Sammy think?
Well, you were very distinct about this. Yes.
Well, that's my opinion.
So where would you guys rate this? I just want the joke and say, is it better than volleyball?
Really?
Because that's like sports game wise, that's like I guess you can say the bar. It's a very low bar because volleyball really wasn't any good. Because like looking at the rating, we have volleyball, and then the next sports game we have would be tennis.
Yeah.
Just wait till we play Limbo. That really sets a low bar.
Okay. Here's the thing. I wouldn't care to play this again. I mean, if I was given like the option, if I had like, okay, on a couple of these games on the list, if I had the choice, like, okay, it's either this or baseball. And the thing of it is that what frustrates me about kind of like the other games that are on this list is like, would I play most of these over any of the Zapper games? And the answer is yes. Simply because the games need a Zapper. So I'm not sure how fair that is. But I'm not making any sense right now. And that's fine. But
you are making perfect sense.
I'm conflicted.
Sammy, what are your thoughts? I know Jerry didn't really say much. I just want to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Let me put this out there. I know we're only rating the black box games right now, but when it comes down the pike, there's probably like 20 different baseball games on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
Like by far, there's more baseball games than any other sport on the system. So that's just something like I feel like me personally, I want to keep in mind that eventually we're going to be putting a lot more baseball games on this list. Like, I feel like we can almost do a special on just baseball games because there's so many of them. They're driving me nuts because as much as I like playing baseball games, I swing at everything. Just ask Jerry.
It's true.
Like the ball can clearly be going over, like outside the plate, and I'm still swinging at it.
It's great.
I'm the typical swing for the fences kind of player. It's why I'm awful at these kinds of games.
All right. Well, I think that I would put it in spot 16, right above Urban Champion.
Okay. All right. So I have it a little bit higher than that.
I do too.
Not by much, but a little bit. Me personally, I would put it between Gumshoe and Donkey Kong 3. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, this one was difficult for me because it's not a terrible game, really. It's just there's not much to it, and knowing that there are many other baseball games on the system, it kind of hurts my mentality a little bit because it's not fair for the game. Because right now we're only rating the black box games, so we haven't gone into the technological advances to have the better games with the stats and the different actual players, the pennants and things like that. So it's hard for me to accurately rate this game, but looking at the list, like if I really could choose between Donkey Kong 3 and baseball, I'd probably play baseball because Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong 3 to me was just so boring, but I'd rather play Donkey Kong. And when it comes to the sports games, I would most definitely rather play tennis because I had a lot more fun with it. If any of that makes any sense. It might just be ramblings of an insane old guy, but you know.
I was going to put it between DK3 and Ice Climber, personally.
Okay. So it's all very close in that range. So we're all kind of looking at like the Donkey Kong 3 range, but we all have to determine, is it better or worse than Donkey Kong 3? Sammy, your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, one of the things that I do for work is I teach people how to negotiate. And the first thing that I tell them is that they have to decide what's worth really sticking up for and what isn't. And for me, this isn't. I'm happy to put it anywhere in that range. You two seem like you're a little bit more closely aligned, so I'm happy to kowtow to consensus.
And I'm actually perfectly fine with putting it between Ice Climber and Donkey Kong myself, because I mean it's one off. It's not that far away from where I was thinking. And like, would I rather play this than Ice Climber? Of course. It's just between Donkey Kong 3 and baseball. But again, I would bow out of this. I think that's where we can put it, between Donkey Kong 3 and Ice Climber.
Alrighty.
Sold. If I had a gavel, I would. What do you do with a gavel?
I guess
Bang
hit
it.
it on the little wooden thingy.
But there's got to be a single word verb for what you do. Pound. Pound it? Pound the gavel.
Pound
the gavel. There we go.
Yeah.
Is that
So,
it?
I guess.
I'm nervous to Google what do you do with a gavel. because I can only
Yeah,
imagine
that might be bad. I don't know about that. You might be scarred for life.
Yeah.
So baseball, number 14, between Donkey Kong 3 and Ice Climber.
Good job. You're both Wayne.
Moving on, because again, we're doing 4 games this week. I'm trying to move on because, you know, we've already spent more than enough time at baseball while you're searching what you do with a gavel. Next up, we have Hogan's Alley, a Zapper game that was also released in October of 1985. So, who wants to talk about this one? Again, I feel like I open up way too much lately, so.
I'll talk about it. I was not captivated by this game.
What did not captivate you about this game? What turned you off of this game?
I just, it could be, maybe it changes if you play it longer than I did, but it's just a little boring. Like, you just shoot for the crook looking people. No due process. Really shameful. But no, I don't
mean,
know.
at this point, I guess it's just self-defense, because they're shooting at you. These cardboard people are shooting cardboard bullets at you. So,
I'm sorry. Did you say that the cardboard people are shooting at you? Did you
cardboard
imagine
bullets.
that?
Yes, I 100% imagine that, because that's the only way I get any kind of excitement out of this, other than the can shooting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So
you didn't, correct me if I'm wrong. You didn't play Wild Gunman, right?
I did not play Wild Gunman.
Jerry.
No, it was before my time.
Jerry.
Yes.
Would you consider this a DLC for Wild Gunman?
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna save I'm just gonna say what I need to say in just a few simple words. This game was boring. I spent way too much time in trick shot mode because it was the only thing worth spending any time on, and I'm still annoyed that I spent enough time in that to get 55,000 points. I lost 15 minutes of my life I'm never gonna get back because of this game. I didn't enjoy Wild Gunman all that much, and I didn't enjoy this. And as you said, it's kind of a DLC. Wild Gunman was better than this.
Ooh.
So this should be free DLC if you bought Wild Gunman.
Yikes.
I would consider Hogan's Alley better, just for the trick shooting. That's the only thing that this game has for me.
Yeah.
Let me just sum up the game, just for those that haven't played Wild Gunman or listened to the first episode, or when, I think it was the first episode, right? Yes, first episode. So in Hogan's Alley, you have 3 modes. 2 of them are very similar. Basically, you have these targets that come on screen, and you shoot them before the timer elapses. If you fail, you lose I guess it's called a miss. And then after you get, I think it's 10 misses or something like that, it's a game over. That's all there is to it, which is the exact same thing as Wild Gunman. This is almost exactly the same game with a slightly different coat of paint on it. The only thing that's really different is the trick shooting, in which you have these cans floating into the screen from the right side of the screen, and all you're doing is shooting them to try to get them to land in one of 3 different areas. If you let them get close to the bottom of the screen, you get more points.
Yeah, but at least
Hogan's Alley.
At least Wild Gunman, there's character animations that go along with when you strike the outlaw.
This
was just like you said, cardboard people shooting cardboard bullets. Like it was like, okay, am I standing in a lineup? What the hell is this? And when you hit the right person, like it just, I felt more immersed in Wild Gunman than I did in Hogan's Alley.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I like, me personally, I felt this game was boring within the first few seconds of playing it. I literally wrote that down in my notebook. That I was bored within seconds.
Yeah.
But Mode B isn't terrible because the scenery kind of changes a little bit, but it's still not good. It's still not very fun. But then you get to the trick shooting where you're shooting the cans. That's the most animation you're going to see in the entire game.
Right.
And that's the part, like, I probably spent a good 10, 15 minutes on that myself because I was actually kind of enjoying it.
Yeah.
But overall, there's just really nothing to the game. I mean, I really don't know what else we can put into this game. I mean,
I say we rank it.
We're literally shooting targets. Like, the cans are the most fun part.
I say we rank it.
I'm fine with that.
I second the motion.
Okay, let's rank it. I'm cool with that. Let's move on.
Sammy, you need to get a gavel for next time.
I shall.
Pound it. All right, where are you guys putting it?
I'm
curious.
I was gonna put it between Donkey Kong Jr. and Wild Gunman because I would still play Wild Gunman over this.
Sammy, your thoughts? I'm
okay with that.
All right. For some reason, I wrote down a slightly higher ranking. Not by much. No, not by much. I had it between Gyromite and Urban Champion, but the more I'm thinking about it, I know the only reason why it's because I actually enjoyed shooting the cans.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to be. I want to be clear. Trick Shot was fun. I will say that, but
yeah, that's the only reason really to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason. Like, there's no. Do not play Mode A or Mode B. You'll just be bored out of your mind. Go play Duck Hunt instead. But like, I put it there, but like, I'm really, really second guessing that. And you would rather play this than Donkey Kong Jr.
I
mean,
yeah, trick shot mode. Yeah, I would.
That's fair. I like, me personally, like, the more I think of it, I'd probably put it below Donkey Kong Jr. However, I have been outvoted, which is fine because it's not really that much different from where I would have put it. So Hogan's Alley, number 19 on the countdown, which is pretty low on the list, which is saying something. It's down to Donkey Kong Jr. land. This still bothers me.
I know it does.
I know it
does. I'm like, it's sitting at 20 and you got to be so upset. It's 4 from the basement.
I'm still waiting for something to go below Donkey Kong Jr. Math. That's what I'm waiting for.
I'm sure it'll happen.
It will. I know plenty of games I think that we're going to say Donkey Kong Jr. Math is better, but that's for another episode. Moving on. Game number 3 of 4. Pro Wrestling, y'all.
Really?
Jerry? Yes. This game was released in October of 1987. It had, I believe, 7 different wrestlers. And this was like one of the first games I played for this, shall we say, series, this podcast, that actually kind of sort of had a story mode. Because the whole purpose is to win the belt and then defend it against all the other wrestlers again. Jerry, you are the wrestling fan. So why don't you talk about this game first? I feel like that's fair.
I didn't like it.
I don't like that side. I don't like that side. That does not sound good. That is not reassuring.
I didn't like it.
You really?
I didn't like it.
Really? I am actually kind of surprised.
So, I didn't spend a lot of time with this game, to be honest with you. I've had things going on, and I played 3 out of the 4 games earlier before the show. I've never done this, but today was I played this game 30 minutes before we recorded. I didn't have a lot of time to play.
Nice and fresh in your mind, you know?
But one of the things that I did do earlier in the day was I had I messaged my cousin and I had sent him a picture of the box art. And I said, don't you have this game? Like, I know I played this at some point in my life, and I feel like I played it when we used to hang out. And he's like, yeah, I still have it somewhere. He's like, make sure you're the star man. I was like, okay. So I was the star man. And I won my last match. And by that time, I was just done with this game. I played 3 matches. And I lost 2 out of the 3. I mean, I will say this. And also knowing that there are definitely other wrestling games on this console.
Which I know you are looking forward to.
I would not... I won't say this is the worst offering out of all of them. And I will say this. I always approach all this with a product of its time, right? The fact that you do have a couple different moves from a grapple, like a suplex, pile driver, body slam, whatever, like that's good. And then you can control like being able to run off the ropes and climb the turnbuckles and all. So like for its time and what it was trying to do, it wasn't an awful game. I am just so immersed in the current genre of wrestling games, I can't enjoy this the way I used to as a kid. It's just not possible. For what it offers and for the time, yeah, not terrible. I couldn't enjoy this all that much. I wanted to. I thought I would like get some like nostalgia or something, but I also realized too, like I never played this against the computer. When I was playing this with me and my cousin against each other. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something to be said for that. Playing against the computer to me was just boring. Because holy crap, does it spam the kick attack.
I don't think I ran into that problem.
I got into a situation, one of the matches, it was like running out of time. The computer would kick me in the face, knock me down, and try to pin me. This went on for like a minute. Because I kept kicking out. But it was like, knock me down, pin me. Knock me down, pin me. And it just kept kicking me in the face. And I kept falling down.
Was that the pink man? Was it like a pink spandex?
Yeah, that's the Star Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he did the same thing to me. I'm gonna write him a strongly worded letter.
You should do that, and then you should come on this podcast and read it.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that for next week, and I'll send the letter back to 1987.
I mean, you are a time traveler. You've admitted that on this show.
Yes, multiple times.
So
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Personally, I enjoyed the game. Knowing, as you said, of the other games on the console in this, shall we say, genre, and how definite crap they are, I was actually kind of impressed with this one, with the amount of detail. As you said, there's a couple different moves you can choose from. Like, it blew my mind when I suplexed someone out of the ring. I'm like, holy crap, you can do this in this game? Which, that was cool. I loved how you can see the referee, the cameraman, and 2 commentators all at the same time on the screen. I love the cameraman like following you around trying to capture the action as it's happening. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, considering games that came after that didn't even come close to being able to try to do stuff like that.
You'd have the 2 wrestlers and that's it. Maybe a couple circles for a crowd, but
right.
Like this game had a full-on audience too.
Yeah.
And the music is so catchy. I loved it. Am I the only one?
No. It was
the music was better than a lot of the other games music.
And the problem, Jerry, that you're having is you picked the wrong character. You don't go with the Starman. You need to go with Ken Karn Korn. Because who else would come up with a freaking name like Ken Korn Karn? Like, I saw that and I burst out laughing out loud.
By the way, for what it's worth, we also too, you talked about the soundtrack, but Game Informer apparently ranked this the 79th best video game ever made in 2001, and they also praised it for its soundtrack, by the way.
It's just a catchy tune.
And
yeah, it gets kind of repetitive after like the 7th match because like I won the first 5 matches I was in. So I got the belt and then I defended it against one person, then lost the second defense match. So I was starting to get a little tired of it, but I would go back and listen to it again because it's so iconic. Like it's catchy, it's upbeat, it makes you kind of want to keep playing. At least I did.
yeah, and apparently this was the #1 video game in the United States for about 2 months.
I can't believe. I mean, you got to figure. I might be wrong on this, but I feel like this is when wrestling was really starting to gain momentum because it was the late 80s. You had
Hulk Hogan. It's who it is. Just say it. It's Hulk Hogan.
Well, I wasn't going to say Hogan. I was thinking Bret Hart.
No, not yet.
I was thinking. Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Hogan then. But like, I feel like it was starting to really gain steam. So like, of course, people are going to see a pro wrestling game, and with all the neon that you see in the WWF at the time, it's like, oh right, guys in tights beating the crap out of each other. That's cool. So that's why I feel like this game definitely gained popularity. But I also feel that it's because it was a solid playing game to me. Like, I know I was the Attitude Era wrestling fan. I get it. But looking back at it, I actually had a little bit of fun with this one. It may not have been as complex as, some of like the later wrestling games, but there was still a lot to do in the game. You were able to climb the turnbuckle. You were able to do the higher acrobatic moves. As I said, suplexing out of the ring. You could step out of the ring and start fighting the guy. You had the ref like jumping in the pin. Just little details that I really wasn't expecting for a game like this at this time.
I wouldn't say that I am, but my dad was really into wrestling, and so I enjoyed it by osmosis kind of. He had it on at home a lot, and so I really only half paid attention. But that was during that was like the late 80s, early 90s, right? When I was still home and watching TV. That said, the game was okay. I always appreciate when the game designers are able to create a sense of depth in this kind of 2D environment. It's something that obviously we take for granted with modern games. But as we go through these black box games, it's really obvious that some of them are so flat. And by comparison, it makes games like this, like the wrestling. And I think that there were some aspects of the golf game too that just gave the playfield a sense of depth, as I said, and intricacy. And so I can really appreciate that just from a design standpoint, right? That said, it took me a while to figure out all that I could do. It took me a while to figure out the controls. They didn't feel particularly intuitive to me, but as I've said 100 times, I didn't play this stuff growing up. And so if you've played a lot of these games already, maybe that's a non-issue. But I know that for me, it took me a while to figure out how to coordinate. But once I got the hang of it, it was enjoyable. I did not win a single match, I don't think. but I did kind of have a good time playing.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I think it's fair that we can move on to ranking it. Let's see any other comments you guys have.
Nope, I agree.
All right. You know what? I'm going to go first. All right. Because I feel like I might be the highest here since I did really enjoy the game. And this might be a little aggressive. I would say between Slalom and Popeye. That's how much I like this game.
Wow.
Really?
Because there was a lot to it. Like, I can't put it above Slalom. As I said last episode, I absolutely adored that game. Pro wrestling, you have the 2-player mode, but you also have, shall we say, a simplified career mode. Whereas, like, a lot of the other games on the list, you're just going for a high score. That's all there is to it. They're arcade games. So that's why I'm thinking I would put it between Slalom and Popeye. Because Because Popeye, again, you just go for a high score. You clear 3 screens and you're done. You move on to the first screen again. But it's up to you guys to tell me I'm wrong.
I will put it. Boy, this really gets tough with a lot of games, doesn't it? I will put it at 11. Between tennis and Donkey Kong.
Okay.
And I was actually going to put it between golf and tennis.
Okay.
Interesting.
So you guys are much closer together than I was.
I had a hard time with that, Jared, figuring out if I enjoyed this or tennis better.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. I'm going to throw it out there. Golf, tennis, and Donkey Kong are all right next to each other. They're bros. They're all from the same episode. So we can't break them apart, can we?
Yeah, we can.
We can.
Oh, okay.
What was your angle there with that?
I was hoping to move it up further.
Like we care.
Bros.
Wait, yeah, what? You think that's going to survive if more games come along? Come on. Now's
it
the
was
time.
worth a shot, okay?
Yeah, well, you know.
So you guys would put it there. And I know I probably enjoyed it more than...
I mean, obviously you did. You're looking to put it
I did. But if I was to choose between, say, golf and tennis or so, or I'm sorry, Sammy, where did you say it was between tennis and Donkey Kong?
That was what I decided. Yeah.
I think me personally, I would go with between golf and tennis, because golf, there's a lot to it. There might only be one course, but it's 18 holes, so it's almost like 18 levels. Tennis, yeah, it's tennis. You know, it's the same court. It's just there's different skill levels and things like that. So based on, for lack of better words, a career mode or levels, shall we say, I think personally I would put it between golf and tennis at this point. Sammy, if you are good with that.
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
All right. So yeah, we will put it between golf and tennis. So pro wrestling is number 10. That's still not bad. Because we have 24 games on the list. So having it at number 10, I'd say is pretty fair. Any other comments on the pro wrestling?
Can you call it pro wrestling, please?
No. Maybe it's just because I played GTA 3 and you have that one commercial on Chatterbox. I wonder if wrestling's on tonight.
Squirrels! Meat's real stringy.
We could just turn this entire podcast into Chatterbox quotes, but we're not going to do that because that's not what this podcast is about. Even though we could probably find a way to put some one-liners in here.
Way to go, Karate
Moving on
Kid.
to...
Thanks for coming on the show. All right, I'm done.
Don't throw any tofu or bean curds at me. Soccer, released in March of 1987. It's, again, there's really not much to it. It's a soccer game. Instead of using a bat to hit the ball, you are using your feet to hit the ball, which is why most countries call it football. But of course, us in the U.S. are a little backwards, and that's why we call it soccer. I never figured out. I should have researched why we call it soccer instead of football. But anyway, there are about 7 teams, 5 skill levels, and 3 different time frames, which basically dictates how long each game can run. Like baseball, there's only one game. It's not like you have a season mode or anything like that. Who wants to talk about soccer? Because again, I talk too much, so I want to let someone else talk about the game.
Well, I'd like to say I really got a kick out of this one.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez, that took me a second. It's been a long day. But that's okay.
Thanks for coming on the show, Sammy.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Did you want to dive into that head first?
Oh, jeez.
Oh. See, it's catching.
Or did you save this one till the last to play of the 4?
I'm going to bicycle kick you in the head.
You're over there choosing violence?
Yes,
these
puns are cringeworthy.
You just threw your pen. That was fantastic. What are you talking about?
I 100% did. All right, I'll start it. Fine. I actually, for the most part, thought that this game was fairly easy to control, but it took a while. It took about a half or a game for me to really know how to control the ball accurately. Because what threw me off every time is every time you hit the ball, it actually moves forward a couple feet. So you can't, there's no real controlled dribble, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm just spoiled off a Nintendo World Cup, but like that threw me off. The fact that, you hit the ball and it like dribbled it forward a couple feet, so you had to run back over to it and hit it again. But doing that also made it very difficult to turn the ball around. I don't know if anybody else had that problem.
I struggled with this game a little bit overall.
What did you struggle with?
Ball control, like just go in line with what you're talking about. I couldn't get it down. I don't know. I had a real hard time just keeping control of the ball. And like you said, I'm kind of used to having a soccer game that you can dribble. It's primitive, man.
I was just going to agree that it took me a while to figure out how to control the ball. Not that I can say I ever really mastered it.
Like I found the best way that I had to go was you almost had to go at like right angles. Like if you're heading towards your own goal, you have to basically stop, move it forward or up, up or down, and then turn and start heading towards the other goal. Like it just felt counterproductive,
Yeah.
That, and I also had problems picking what player I wanted to control. I don't know if anybody else ran into that, but there were a few times where I was on defense and I just couldn't get the right player selected.
I'm glad you said that. So do any of you know if you can control which one's selected? Does it rotate? Does it select the player that's now closest to the ball? What's the mechanism there? Because I just could not predict whom it was going to select for me.
I had the same problem.
I did figure it out eventually after about a game or so.
Okay.
What you do is when you hit B, it goes to whoever is closest to the player that has the ball. If the ball was in midair, I've noticed that sometimes you press B and nothing happens. You have to wait till the ball almost is touching the opponent before you can actually switch to that player. It's not the greatest system because that way you can't set up a play. Like you can't intercept the ball very easily. But once you get the hang of that, it does make playing the game a little bit easier. Now, granted, I only played on the easiest difficulty setting. I didn't have the guts to try any of the harder ones. So maybe it's a lot more difficult, but I found it was very easy to kind of steal the ball because of the way it dribbles. Because when the ball goes forward and no one's touching it, anybody could touch it at that point.
I have a really big gripe too, and I don't know if it happened to you guys. When I actually was able to make a save, and if I would go to get rid of the ball, I don't understand how the computer was able to run into my goalie and affect my ability to get rid of the ball, and then they just took it and scored. Like the ball was in my goalie's hand, I went to kick it, and the computer ran into my goalie and knocked the ball out of my hand and then just kicked it in.
I'm really glad you brought that up because that's another kind of complaint I have with the game is that for some reason it's difficult to get the ball out of the goalie's hand. What I found is that, before when you're on defense, you have to hit B in order to choose what player you want to control on defense. But when when the goalie has the ball, I noticed, I think you press up or down to choose who you want to pass it to, and then you hit B in order to shoot it over to them.
Who knew?
Right. It took me a lot of trial and error. I don't think anybody ever scored on me. I scored a lot, but it got close a couple times. There was a couple times where I'm panicking against my goalie. I'm like, come on, get rid of the stupid ball. And I read the manual, so I can't say that it's because I was unaware of how things worked. I knew that that's how the game's controls worked. It's just, they're kind of complex, for lack of better words, Given that complexity, I will say I like how the game treated your scoring attempts. Whereas once you get close to the net, you see an arrow. And by pressing up and down, it both moves your player and also moves the arrow, so you can kind of aim on where you're shooting. That's one thing my favorite part of the game is being able to kind of fine-tune where your shot went. But saying that, was it me or did you feel like no one really had any power behind their passes or shots?
Yeah, it felt like if there were any decent shots, there was no reason around it. Like it would just randomly happen, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I felt that way, but I assumed that it was because I was playing as the USA.
I tried a couple different teams. I didn't notice any difference.
Okay.
Even passing or shots, like it doesn't matter. It almost felt like they were passing around a literal rock the size of a soccer ball, because it just did not gain any kind of momentum. It didn't really gain any kind of distance. It's like stubbing your toe on a paperweight or something. That's what it felt like to me.
That was dreadful.
Yeah. Like I wish you could had more power behind your shots. Maybe it's because the game does work. It does kind of feel a little bit slower paced, which, to be fair, soccer sometimes can be. That's why I'm not the biggest fan of watching soccer. But I will say, even soccer video games, I'm not a huge fan. Like soccer, I played 2 years of soccer in elementary school. I was an awesome bench warmer. So maybe that just kind of scarred me. But I'm awful at soccer games. I'm awful at watching soccer, and I'm awful at playing soccer, like real life soccer. So soccer just isn't meant for me. Saying that though, there is another thing I kind of liked in the game that it was a silly little addition that, it's just kind of small detail, but it was kind of silly, but I liked it. The halftime show. It didn't need to be there, but it was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, that was confusing. I was like, why is this here?
Well, there's some space in the cartridge, and they want to fill it up. I also love when your characters cheer whenever a goal is made.
Yeah, and they do the
run.
run.
Dance.
Yeah, and they run back to the center of the field or the pitch.
The only thing this game is really missing are those those horn things that everybody's. I don't remember what they're called. Someone's got to know what they're called. I feel like it begins with a V.
The cone things, did you say?
Yeah, like the cone trumpet horn things.
They're not pylons?
No, like that they play. Like it's just randomly, like you'll be hearing the commentary. All of a sudden, you just hear. Roar.
Oh. Okay. I don't know. I assume it's an instrument.
Vuvuzelas.
Did you just sneeze?
I'm still here weighing in my head when he made that sound. I'm gonna cut that shit. That's gonna be we're gonna be using that. That's gonna go on a sound.
Oh, come on. Yeah, the vuvuzelas. Like that's the only thing this game is really missing, I feel.
Did you sneeze? Oh.
You are not cutting that out.
Oh.
So it makes it entertaining.
Oh, okay.
Anywho. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, getting back on track a little bit, like with regard to, all I could think of with this game was like, man, thank goodness World Cup soccer exists.
Yeah, because I don't think there's a lot of soccer games on the system. But like NES World Cup Soccer, again, maybe it's just nostalgia because that was the first video game I ever owned. But it does soccer so much better. Yeah, that was done like maybe 3-4 years later. So technology advanced enough. But like again, this game sets out to do what it was meant to do. It's a solid playing game of soccer. I legitimately waited till last minute to play this one because I was dreading it after playing baseball. Because baseball just kind of frustrated me with the fielding. I'm like, oh man, soccer. Oh, this is going to be awful. And I don't know why, but I had a feeling that it was going to be like volleyball, where it was just horrible. I was pleasantly surprised with soccer. Like, it sets out to do what it meant to do. You choose a couple options and you play a game of soccer. And that is it.
Well, I'm ready to rank this thing.
Okay, let's move on to ranking it. Where would you put it?
I would play this over volleyball.
I would agree with that. Again, very low bar to cross there.
I would put this honestly between Gyromite and Urban Champion myself.
Okay. Sammy, what are your thoughts?
I think I would put it between baseball and ice climber.
Okay. I would rate it very closely to that. I would rate it just one step up. I would put it between Dunk Kong 3 and baseball. I think out of the two, I'd rather play soccer. I think the fielding in baseball just like, it's like that nagging thought in the back of your head, like you're missing something and you want to avoid it because of that. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand why you might feel that way.
So, Jerry, we're going to leave it up to you. Where do you think it could go in that general area? Like, persuade me otherwise.
Okay, wait, so
no pressure.
So you said you'd put it between baseball and ice climber?
Sammy said baseball and ice climber.
Okay, and you said DK3 and baseball.
So yeah, we're looking like in that general frame. Again, no pressure.
And
the reason why I'm putting you on the spot here is because you are like the odd one out, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
So I want to get your thoughts on where you would think of putting it if you had to move up a little bit.
Right.
Because yours wasn't really even that far off.
I'm not a fan of ice climber.
We know. I don't think any of us really were.
Well, right. But my gripe about ice climber is how broken it felt in terms of the controls. Soccer doesn't feel broken. Mm-hmm. I would still play I would still play baseball. Despite the fielding, I would still play baseball over soccer. So
right.
Between baseball and ice climber, if I had to make a concession.
So that is where we are going to put it then. Soccer, number 16, between baseball and ice climber. And I think that's a good place to put it.
This list is
and with that said,
shaping up nicely.
That is it for episode 8. So we have one more episode left of Black Box Games, and then the party will be thrown, and then the floodgates shall open of the other 600 some video games that we have available to us. So episode 9, again, we're going to have 4 games to finish it off, and I'll touch about why we're doing 4 games next episode, but we're not going to be reviewing one of the Black Box games. So we're at like an even 29, so hence why we're doing 4 games. I'll touch on that.
29's not an even number, sir.
Okay, you know what I meant. But for episode 9, we are doing the last 4 of the Black Box games: 10-Yard Fight, Kung Fu, Mock Rider, and Mario Brothers. I think this is going to be a fantastic episode because I am a huge fan of 2 of those games. Huge fan. And spoiler alert, we are doing Kung Fu. We're doing Kung Fu. God, I need sleep. We're doing Kung Fu last. Because I think we all can agree, other than maybe Sammy, because he hasn't played it, but most of us can agree that Kung Fu is one of the best black box games that you can play. This is going to be an interesting episode. A great finale for the black box games. With that said, thank you again so very much, Sammy and Jerry, for joining me tonight. And thank you, the listener / watcher / I don't know if there is any other slash. Well, I'm just showing my stupidity even further. But thank you for participating and listening to this because, we like knowing what you think. If you have any thoughts on any of these games, let us know. Where would you put them? And as always, click that little subscribe, little like button. Appreciate that. But until next time, again, thank you, Sammy and Jerry. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Sure.
Always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And until next time, happy fragging.